identifying your insecurities, it's usually something that's been with you for a while. Whenever you don't, if you're, and a lot of times it's what we see in the mirror, especially in the world that we live in, where there might be something about our bodies that we're insecure about. You got to accept it or you got to be working on it. It's one or the other. That is the gift that you're going to bring to yourself, but then also to your partner, is that you're either accepting your insecurities or you're working through them. You don't get to complain your whole life. That it just isn't okay to do that. It isn't okay to bring that sort of burden to someone else, because guess what? They're working on their own stuff. Right. We all have these insecurities that we're working through, hopefully, or that we've accepted. Yeah. The other thing is that there are emotional insecurities. Fear of abandonment, there's fear of disloyalty, infidelity, fear that you're not good enough. All of those things, you either are bringing them to the relationship or you're looking for ways to feed them from the relationship. And again, that is not the way to enjoy a partnership. I think the reason that we do these shows is because we truly believe that marriage is one of the ultimate, if not the ultimate way to express love with companionship forever.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Better Together with Maria Menounos. And of course, I'm not Maria Menounos. I'm Mr. Maria Menounos. Calvin Robertson here, subbing in for my beautiful wife. Today's going to be a very timely episode because it's all about relationships. And, well, I'll get to it in the intro, who we're going to have on. I'm just going to say that, I'm just going to throw it right now. I'm going to go a little rogue. Best I've ever seen on TV. Incredible. Anyway, let me read our little quote of the day, Kelsey.
Please do.
Love is not something you fall into like an unexpected rain puddle. You grow into marriage. The key is to not depend on feelings, but rather ask, do you feel committed to and accountable to and for your mate? Give yourself time to grow in love. That's from Pastor Cal.
Hey.
Fans of the Lifetime series Married at First Sight, the hit series that literally marries people at first sight, will know Dr. Viviana and Pastor Cal as two of the best relationship experts in the business. Dr. Viviana is a doctor of marriage and family therapy, a licensed marriage and family therapist, a certified sex therapist, and a licensed relationship and sex expert. Pastor Calvin Robertson has 3 decades experience as a pastor, educator, Wall Street executive, and public speaker who believes that relationships are the thread that holds the fabric of our world together. The duo is here to give advice on dating and relationships in these times, as well as to discuss their new show, Married at First Sight Unmatchables. The Heal Squad and Better Together are so excited to welcome Pastor Cal and Dr. Viviana. Children, kids, it's such an honor to speak to you. Can I tell you why I think you're the best? Because it's one of the beauties of the show, and it's also one of the flaws, but depends on what you want to watch. If you want to actually see people genuinely pursue love, fall in love, make mistakes, but then get the corrections you need to have a relationship, stay in a relationship, this is the show for you, because you can tell that you are genuinely rooting for these couples and really trying to match them well. Now, as an old TV producer, if you're looking for a shit show, like the other shows, this is not the show for you, because I will say the devil in me would like to make the worst matches and sit back and eat my popcorn and watch, 15 awesome weeks of just insanity, which, again, we see on all the other shows. But this show, it's like where I think Bachelor aspires to this, but we just know is
not happening.
Well, it's kooky, it's concoct. I mean, there's just a lot to it. And again, I'm a fan of that show too. But this one of all of them is the most genuine and authentic. And I really think it starts with you guys, because the pairings and the nurturing that they get. So it's all those things, but it starts with you, because when my wife and I, we watch you guys and we see the advice, I'm like, wow, these people, they care so much. And you see it, because to be married at first sight and to actually work, it seems insane, but yet it is, right?
Yeah, yes, it is.
It's right? All of those things.
It's all of those,
yeah.
And more.
And so
we love what we do. And first of all, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
No, you're welcome.
But Viviana and I, and Dr. Pepper, we love what we do, and it's always just an incredible, blessing.
It really is.
Just to see
It's such a privilege.
these couples, just to see these couples, go from not knowing each other to building long-lasting relationships. And I love the successes we've had. And it's just a great experience.
And Viviana, I know you're a little newer to the show, right? I mean, right? But when both of you are approached with this, Pastor Cal, when they first come to you and say, "This is a show, Married at First Sight," was there any part of you that's like, "Well, that's not possible"? Or were you like, "Of course it's possible"? When you think of arranged marriages that end up working out, no, really. What, and I want to hear, Viviana, what you thought when you were asked about this. But Dr. Cal, because been on the show a little longer, what were your thoughts when it was pitched to you?
That's such a great question. Here's the thing: when it was first pitched to me, I actually did question that. Now it just so happens because my background in theology and in understanding, Eastern religions, I do know that the majority of marriages are arranged in the world. The majority of marriages are arranged. So I do understand that this is sort of like as a new take on arranged marriages. I wasn't against the idea. I just wanted to make sure that there was proper vetting and proper preparation, before these people were met. So it was a little different for Western society, but it was kind of intriguing. And the whole idea that we have an opportunity to find two people who can't find love and sort of just analyze them and take all their, like parents, taking all these people and say, okay, fine, you guys ought to be together, marry, make a family, enjoy life. It's very intriguing. It was awesome.
And Dr. Viviana, when it was pitched to you, you might have known a little bit about the show, but what was your reaction?
Well, I know it definitely helped to know that Dr. Pepper Schwartz had been on since season 1.
Right.
And Pastor Calvin Robertson was on since season 4. I mean, that says a lot about what's going on here, because to put your reputation on the line, which was definitely a concern of mine going into TV, you never know how real reality TV is.
Yes.
But from the get-go, they have proven that this is very real.
It is.
Almost so real that sometimes we don't, sometimes I'm like, wait, don't show that. That's too real. But of course we have no say on what ends up on the actual.
But did you buy in? But did you also buy into the possibility that you can be married at first sight and it can succeed? Or think of all the look at you have like 18 different degrees. It seems like so. With all your training, was this contrary to your training, or did you say yes?
No, it's actually very much in keeping with all of my training because the production company is hiring us to do what we do. We're just doing it on camera.
Okay.
And fortunately to have that platform, we get to pull out all of our tricks, the things that we normally just get to do, across the room from someone else. I get to now share all of the things that I've learned. I've been a therapist since 2003. So I've been able to share everything that I've learned on this show. And I continue with every couple because every couple's different. Every couple has different challenges, strengths. Every individual comes into this with something different. So it's just a really interesting way to use my expertise. But knowing that these two had been on for so long definitely helped me to feel at ease.
It comforted you.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So, Pastor Cal, even just reading, your quote, I feel like for you, you look at you asking us to look at love in as a marathon more than a sprint, like looking at the long game.
Yeah. Look, you know what? I think that love has become this mystified concept for so long that, it was necessary and has been necessary. And I've sort of been teaching this for years. It's necessary for people to look at love differently. And the fact of the matter is that if you can't define it, if you don't know what it looks like, it's very difficult for you to know how to do it. And the idea of growing in love, the idea of it taking time, the idea of it being a marathon, that's what it is. I believe we all know that experientially, but no one really just puts it into perspective.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that, look, love grows out of adversity, not out of good times. You know, I mean, look, good times are great, you know, but that's not what really creates the foundation of a marriage.
Wow. No, see,
And there's lots of opportunities for
Are you taking notes?
Yeah, I am. No, I am, because this is such helpful information. Because I know you say that we all know that love's a marathon. I don't know about that. I feel like, doing the show for my wife, I noticed that all the people, the world-class experts like you that come on in all areas, I noticed this heightened sense of awareness. So being aware it's a marathon, I feel like the average person, the regular guy or girl, I don't feel like we have that awareness. I feel like I'm attracted to this person, whatever, like we get along, we laugh together. I don't know. My parents like her parents like me. Yay. And then it's like, whoa, what did I do? So I don't think that. And so that's why I totally write that down, that no one says that love grows out of adversity. And people need to hear that, because we all think love grows out of senior prom.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or like all the fun things.
Right.
Please,
right,
Dr.
right.
I think that
Viviana.
most people don't realize, and what I know that we very much appreciate from our participants, is that we're starting off with a commitment. The part that people don't have in their dating life, we're starting off with the foundation of, these are people who understand what commitment is and who are really willing to just jump right into the deep end and are looking for that. They are wanting that.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the piece that really gets you through to the next phase of all of these valleys, right? And gets you through to the next hill. But I'm always so impressed with the fact that even though people say it, they're actually showing it through the work that they do on the process that they're allowing us to follow the cameras with and all that. They're showing that they truly are committed to it, because for a lot of people, they would have left after the first day, the first week of being scared, of being vulnerable, of being followed around. But no, they're truly committed to wanting to be married. And that's what makes us so fortunate to have and be a part of this platform, which is Married at First
I
Sight.
have so many questions, you guys. Are you guys involved? Did they bring you the casting, or are you involved in the process? Well, I'll say casting, pairing. Let me use a friendlier term. But in terms of pairing them, are you involved in that part of the process?
Well, we have 75,000.
I heard.
applicants for
75.
Married at First Sight.
Insane.
So thankfully,
I know, right?
we have.
I didn't want to
an
step on you. I want everyone to hear.
incredible
Dr. Viviana, please say that again clearly. I stepped on you. Sorry. How many applicants?
We have had 75,000 applicants for Married at First Sight. So we have an incredible
What?
casting department who really helps to glean who they think are the most committed and most promising. Because as you can imagine, some people do this as a lark. Some people really just, they think, oh, well, let me just try it. I had a bad date last week. Let me see if this is better.
Yeah.
Um,
Or let me just be
and they
famous,
really
like
do-
you said, like be a lark. Like this isn't an opportunity to become a reality star.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And so they do a lot of that. And then, of course, there are people who just don't qualify. They have kids, maybe they're too young, all of this, or they don't live in the right, space. I
Proximity.
think it's like a 250-mile radius or whatever. So that sort of thing they cut out. But then they give us about 200 people. And then from then on, it's all us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um,
So when it comes to the actual matches,
when it comes to the actual
matches,
matching, we get to do all of that. It's
That's all
a
us.
huge responsibility.
Yeah.
It's a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of coffee, a lot of laughing, a lot of pulling your hair out. But it's so worth it, because who else gets to do this? Who else gets to be at the forefront of creating these families? Cal has had, how many babies now? 8?
not personally, but
Yeah.
from
From the show, from the
Yeah.
matches and pairings
Yeah.
of the show, he's had like 8 MAFS babies.
Yeah.
I just had my first with Viviana and Greg. They
Congratulations.
just had their first baby. I mean,
yeah,
this
that's
is
exciting. Yeah, we're
so exciting, and
we're
it's really
creating-
special.
we're creating family units, and I think that it goes so far beyond just a TV show, because we get, all of us, all 3 of us, we get so many DMs, so many emails
Can't imagine.
from people who tell us quite often, I mean on a daily basis, when the season's active, telling us just what they've learned. And these are not just people who were just married. I mean, people who've been married for 10, 20, 30 years, they call and they say, wow, I that's my husband, or that's my wife, or I'm learning so much. I've been going through this. And that's a rewarding thing for me and for all of us.
Yeah, you can
is
learn.
that this show actually has the potential not to just entertain, but sort of to be sort of like a weekly counseling session.
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
for people who are just sitting down watching it. I don't know if there's anything like that around.
That's why I think if you want to see genuine love, and takeaway, this is the best show on television for that. And I commend you guys, honestly, and the production company, because I feel like I know the people in that company, and I know where their hearts are, and you see it.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
I mean, all day, every day, it's
Yeah.
all about truly giving these pairs a chance to grow in love.
Yeah.
And I believe that they show that to us all the time. And I believe that they show it to the participants, which is why we have people who then go on to want to continue to work with them through couples cam. And,
Right.
and that's not a given, right? I mean, that's not why people should do this, because that might not be here,
Right.
forever. But it does say a lot that they're like, okay, that was that process, but I liked them so much and they were so helpful to us. We're willing to work with them again. So that says a lot.
I love what you said too. I always say you're halfway there when you're aware of something or you're committing to something. So when you have couples that are like, hey, I want to really get married. But then I'm sure there are couples, or not couples, but parties that think they're committed, they want to be committed and they're not. Do you find that too, that you find someone who's not ready really and they're not aware of it? Yes.
Yeah, I think quite often, not quite often, but we have seen cases where people have gotten in over, definitely over their heads, and they find that, wow, this marriage thing is so much more than we ever has the fanciful notion of marriage, the rainbows and the bunny rabbits. And, it's just wonderful. Yes, I want to find my prince, so I want to find my princess. So everyone has those ideations of what they want. But when it really comes down to the hard work of marriage, we found that some people get into it and then they realize, oh my God, this is actually real. This is really work. I mean, you have to actually deny yourself of sometimes your own feelings. You have to push your own feelings aside sometimes and yield to the other person. You have to, change course in a number of ways, things that you're doing, because you're no longer a single person. These are two people now together trying to mesh and trying to become one. And that's, it's a lot of people do get in over their heads, and we try our best to avoid that by vetting them, giving them background checks, psychological evaluations, and all that. And still, you just can't account for the fact that, some people just think they're ready, and they're just simply not.
They're not ready. So, Dr. Viviana, I have a lot of friends who I think are incredibly eligible, females too, and mainly, actually, now I think of it because of Maria's show, who I can't believe they're not married or with somebody. And what are some of the things that block that, do you think, with women, as far as being able to find the perfect partner or the partner? I don't want to say perfect because there's no such thing.
Sure. It's an interesting time for women because we're bombarded with messages that say, live your best life. You only live once. You don't need anyone else. It's all within you. And then we're also getting the messages of, leave any toxicity out. You don't need any negativity in your life. Cut people out if they don't serve you. I mean, and then but you're supposed to have a family and you're supposed to be, in a partnership and don't die alone. I mean, there's so many different messages that we're getting. I think for a lot of women, they're really struggling to compromise because life is telling us you don't need to. You don't need to be happy. You don't have to compromise. You shouldn't have to. But for those of us who are married, I mean, Cal and I are both married to amazing spouses. There's a lot of compromise.
Yes.
We're here because we've compromised with our other significant others to allow them to support us in different ways. And then we support them in different ways. And that's something that I think a lot of women are struggling with is the compromise piece, because it's almost like it's become a dirty word.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. And remembering it's a partner. And so I always say you're twice as great as what you were, at least when you get a partner. And
Oh my God.
Right. And
Oh my gosh. That's so true, man. Kevin, it's like, if people could get this into their minds, and I understand so vividly what Viviana is saying, because that's the social narrative that's being just portrayed for women, and my heart goes out, because I think there's this constant cognitive dissonance. You know what?
Yeah.
I want someone in my life, but I want my independence, and I don't want toxicity, and it's so difficult. But if people could finally understand, as you were saying, that as an individual, I'm good seeing 180. I can see straight ahead, and I can see my peripheral, pretty good. But when you're in a relationship, that person's supposed to see what you can't see. So with you and that person together, with them at your back and you at their back, you now have a 360 view of life and a 360 view of everything. And, you should be able to move in any direction effectively, but I think we forget that because we want to partner with someone else, but we don't want to compromise
and we don't want
give
to
them
settle,
that right and give them that kind of leeway to have our backs.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that settling down is settling. And
even that word, right? Settling down, settle. It's not a exciting word.
It's not an exciting word, but it's an exciting process, because it then allows you to really cement who you are as a couple, and then you can move forward together.
Yeah.
If you don't settle into anything or settle down into anything, then you're constantly going to be wondering, okay, wait, what are you working on? What are you doing? How are you feeling? What's it? And that's when couples start to do this whole thing, right? And you see that emotionally. I know I see it in my office all the time, that if you're not really able to solidify who you are as a couple towards the beginning of your relationship, which is why it's so important to have us and our help to these couples right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Cal comes in right after they get home from the honeymoons. I come in 2 weeks later, and then, we're there 5 out of the 8 weeks. So they get a lot of us, whether they want us or not.
Whether it's filmed or not, right?
And whether it's filmed or not.
No, you
right?
see that.
In addition to what's not filmed.
Right.
But really having our help at the beginning, but having any help at the beginning of a new burgeoning relationship is probably the most important, because that's where you're really setting the tone and maybe erasing some past mistakes and making some new promises to each other.
Can you, is it possible for both you guys, I'll start with you, Pastor Cal, just can you give us a few steps on, I start dating somebody, I feel like this could be the one. It's early on in the relationship. Maybe some do's, don'ts, or tips that I can do or we can do as a couple to really build. Because when you say settle down, we're building a foundation, and you can't build a foundation on sand. So you guys are building the strongest foundation with these guys, giving them 8 weeks, really trying to make this strong so they can grandchildren, the whole thing together. But how do we, can you help me with that? How, some steps, I'll start with you, Pastor Cal, on like what we can do to build that strong foundation from the get-go. When I just have the butterflies in my stomach and it's that person I meet, I'm like, God, I think this could be the one.
Right. The first thing I would say is find out what your values are. And values are, any of those irreplaceable tenets or principles that you live by. Okay. What are your actual values? We all have things that that are staples in our lives that we judge ourselves by and we judge others by. What are your values? What is that person? What is this person's values? Secondly, separate feelings from love. Understand that love is not a feeling. And a lot of people, this whole love at first sight, I see someone and it's like, what?
That just blew me away. Wait, separate
feelings from love. And here's the thing. Yeah. When you think about what love is, because people say, well, love is a feeling. Okay. Well, does that mean then when I don't feel good about my spouse? Kevin, you've been married. I don't know how long you and Marie have been married.
Marie and I have been together for 22.
Yeah.
No, longer. 22, maybe 23 years.
Yeah, and then, 22 years.
Yes, we've been, yeah.
And I would bet you that you don't always feel good about each other.
No.
Exactly. No, it's the same with me. Wendy and I are I love my wife, and same with you and Bobby.
Yeah.
But we don't always feel good about our spouses. And if love is a feeling, then when I don't feel good about you, does that mean I don't love you? Absolutely not. Love is a principle. Love is a commitment. So people have to get this into their minds. First of all, what are your values? And secondly, okay, I feel good about you. I have the butterflies. Okay, but am I willing? Do I understand what love is? Because love is, and this is the definition that I've used for years, is love is a commitment, an intellectual decision we make to fulfilling another person's legitimate needs. Okay? It so far supersedes a feeling. Okay? Because once I'm committed to you, irrespective of those feelings, I'm going to be in there. I'm going to be with you. And so if you're thinking about getting into a relationship, are you ready to make that commitment? Are you ready to say, you know what, I'm willing to commit my time, commit myself, commit my feelings, and commit maybe even some of what I've gained in this world to this person. If you're not ready for that, you might want to consider whether or not this is the direction you want to move into.
Okay, well said. Dr. Viviana.
I think it's so important to really put an end to or really minimize any insecurities you have about yourself. I feel like with a lot of the work that I do with my clients, it's about diminishing and eradicating insecurities because they can be such a cancer to relationships. Mm-hmm. Anything that you do with insecurity isn't going to go as well. It's not going to hit the spot. It's not going to go as healthy. And so if you can work on eliminating or really diminishing your insecurities as an individual, that's going to really help you to promote your best self for dating and then, of course, for marriage. Obviously it's easier said than done.
No, I know. And we'll get into the how to. Yeah, but no, we can get into how we can identify and remove. But I know what you're saying because I would see people on dates, guys and girls, and they're literally on that first date trying to hold it together. Just they're trying so bad to hold it together because of the insecurities, to not show all these other sides of themselves. So how do we identify where, if we're insecure, we're all insecure to a degree, but how do we identify our insecurities, and then what's the next step after that? Because this is a big one.
So identifying your insecurities, it's usually something that's been with you for a while. Whenever you don't, and a lot of times it's what we see in the mirror, especially in the world that we live in, where there might be something about our bodies that we're insecure about. You got to accept it or you got to be working on it. It's one or the other. That is the gift that you're going to bring to yourself, but then also to your partner, is that you're either accepting your insecurities or you're working through them. You don't get to complain your whole life. But it just isn't okay to do that. It isn't okay to bring that sort of burden to someone else, because guess what? They're working on their own stuff. Right. We all have these insecurities that we're working through, hopefully, or that we've accepted. Yeah. The other thing is that there are emotional insecurities, fear of abandonment. There's fear of disloyalty, infidelity, fear that you're not good enough. All of those things, you either are bringing them to the relationship or you're looking for ways to feed them from the relationship. And again, that is not the way to enjoy a partnership. I think the reason that we do these shows is because we truly believe that marriage is one of the ultimate, if not the ultimate way to express love with companionship forever. And so knowing how to do that is something that I know we all really try to work on, to exemplify, but also to enjoy our own lives. Yeah. And insecurities don't get you anywhere. I'm telling you, confidence is sexy as heck. It is. Yeah. Confidence can get you to so many places, and living in that way is, I think, an amazing way to live a love life and a sex life.
And just to piggyback on that a little bit, please. Is I think one thing that I found also, you're doing great, but one thing that I found also, I believe that for insecurities, facing your insecurities is first of all, it's about speaking it. I believe that the first person who hears if I look in the mirror, I don't like my size. I don't like my ears. I don't like my nose. I don't like my color. It could be any number of things. But the first person who hears negative comments is you. Before it comes out of your mouth, it starts here. And the more you speak, you're not only thinking it, but you're reinforcing it by your words. So quite often when we say things, oh, I don't like the way I look. Oh my gosh, look at this. Oh. So you have to sort of rewire and almost force yourself and train yourself to change your speak, to change your words, because words are so powerful in changing our emotions, our feelings, what we think about ourselves, and the direction of our lives. And if you can't start there by saying, you know what, look in the mirror. I don't care if you have a few pounds. Look in the mirror and say, you know what, I like my curves.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, I like this. I like this. And I refuse to listen to any negativity, any negative people who are constantly reaffirming my negativity. And I refuse to do that, and I refuse to say it myself. Okay, get away from negative people. Stop saying negative things about yourself.
Yeah, words. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you're 100% right. How has social media I know you guys are really deep on this show now, but in your private practices or private experiences, how has social media and dating affected what you do? Or what are the new challenges you have?
Yeah, well, it's definitely making, for instance, with a lot of a lot of the participants that we've worked with, not just for Married at First Sight, but with our new spinoff, Married at First Sight Unmatchables. Yeah. There is such an emphasis on doing things for the gram, or it doesn't count if it's not for the gram, right? And I feel like that puts a lot of pressure on the sense of perfection. And unfortunately, like with the participants that we're working with, some of the things that they're putting out there, we've had to call them out on because it's not attractive. Yeah. It's not attractive when you're dating, when you're putting something out there, and it's probably not something that a future spouse would appreciate. So, yeah, I mean, we are having to call them out a bit on it. And then on top of that, just like on a professional level, we're fortunate. We're old enough and we're confident enough in what we do that it's kind of in one ear out the other. But that's not the case for everyone that is participating in this. We have people who are younger and maybe don't feel a sense of self that is as strong as ours, and that's it. Kind of brings the mama bear out when I try to protect them, but at the same time, they need to figure that out for themselves and create their own boundaries.
They have to learn. And what is some of the things we're in the relationship can. Pastor Cal, start with you. Like, can you just give me a few tips on how we maintain this? Like, how can we get on the 50-year plan? So I'm married, you know what I mean? That's my joke in our house. I say the 30-year plan. Now I have to update it I have to buy more time. But I've always said, come on, we're on the 30-year plan here. Like, this isn't going to work every day for the next 30 years. Like, let's fix this. But can you tell me what some tips that you have for, long term? Like, we're married now. And now, the honeymoon's over, everyone's gone on and lived their lives. Now it's just me and my partner. Yeah. What are some things we can do to really ensure that we're going to be on the 50-year plan?
Yeah, and I think you just kind of touched on it when you said, like every day, you had to, we're on a 30-year plan now or whatever. It's almost like every day you have to recommit. And it's almost like the whole thing about eating an elephant, one bite at a time. It's like every day is a recommitment day. Every day is almost a reset. Wow. And you're sort of building and building and building each day. The moment you project too far into the future is when you lose ground. Yeah. When you project too far into the future, we're on a 30-year plan. We're on the 50-year plan, which I love. I'm going to use that again. We're on the 50-year plan, but it's like the 50-year plan is accomplished in 50 individual years, which is accomplished in 12 individual months, then in 52 weeks and 360 days. So it's like every day I'm working, and for my wife and I, the stuff that we're talking about, we do in our marriages. If every day I can act as though, wow, I'm recommitting to you today, just today. before you know it, man.
By the way,
50 years,
what a great sign to have on the fridge or something accessible. And then do you have are there things you do? Like I know with Howard Stern and his wife Beth, they both brush your teeth and do mouthwash, whatever, and then give themselves a kiss every morning. Like that's their kind of
Oh my
thing.
God,
And I
yeah.
think that's really cool. Like, are there things like that you're aware, like any other like techniques we can apply other than having that in our minds?
Yeah, there's so many things as far as, and I think that was so cool. What Wendy and I do, and I'm just gonna give you a personal example, is that I committed from day one that every day I would, first of all, we have physical touch daily, especially, well, I'm travel so much we can't,
Right.
but every day we touch. Every day there has to be some physical touch, okay? Because I believe that when you're that tactile, it breaks down the barriers. So there has to be physical touch. Secondly, we have to do random acts of kindness. Okay.
To one another.
It doesn't make a difference what it is. Yeah. My wife and I, we try to do random acts of kindness. I made up in my mind that on day one when we got married, that I would always open the door for her. If I'm around, she doesn't touch the door. Right? It's just
I love it.
it's just what I do.
Yeah.
I open the door. I never walk leaving her behind.
Yep.
She's always in front, and I want her to feel that I'm surrounding her. I want her to feel that I'm the house band, the husband, which is the band that surrounds the house, to keep the bad out and the good in. I want her to feel that protection.
And what an easy technique to make you mindful. You know what I mean? Every
Absolutely.
time you open that door and every time you walk next to it, it's like a reminder of like, I'm honoring my commitment. I'm recommitting.
Exactly.
I love it.
It's a part of appreciation, and I'll say this last thing because I'm running on. It's a part of appreciation, and I look at appreciation like this: if you have a valuable coin or any valuable asset, with each year it appreciates in value. It appreciates based on the time you spent with it, based on the demand of it. Everything you go through with your spouse, they should appreciate in value from day to day. So when I look at my wife, or you look at your wife and you look at your husband, you say, I appreciate you. What you're saying is that you're worth more to me today than you were yesterday, than the day before. Because everything you're going through, you're increasing in value. And so you have to start thinking that way. Every little thing that I do, we're increasing.
Yeah.
Dr. Viviana, I want to get yours too, and then we have to talk about your new show that I'm super excited about because finally we'll have some mismatches. No, I'm so. By the way, just when I heard the title, you guys, I'm like, yes. Bring me the broken baby. That's what I want. That's what I want.
Broken baby.
Yeah, bring it. Okay, go ahead, Dr. Viviana.
Going back to just the daily life stuff, I think it's so important to keep things fresh and new, and that means part of the work of being in a relationship, and especially of a long-term marriage or committed relationship, is making yourself interesting. And that might mean not being attached at the hip 24/7 or sharing every little thing that you're doing all day long, just so that you'll have something to bring to the dinner table and talk about. It's those sorts of things. I know sometimes I look around and sure, I'm definitely guilty of being on my phone quite a bit, but I look at the couples who like hardly even talk to each other during dinners. They're just kind of like on opposite ends of the couch. And you think, goodness, this is not what they signed up for. And it certainly isn't how things started. Right. So, we're very fortunate. We have a very exciting professional life, all different facets of it that we can bring back home and talk about and share. But it doesn't even have to be that big of a deal. It can be a little hobby that you have. It can be going on a walk, listening to a podcast, and then coming back and talking about it. That the novelty in a relationship doesn't have to just refer to things in the bedroom. I think it's also just in communication.
And what about in ebbs and flows too? Like, when like right now you guys are on TV, you're traveling all the time. The partner has to know, my wife is supremely famous for 20-something years. I've had to learn how to give, right? Isn't there like give and take? We have to be able to bend, the partners have to be able to bend too? Absolutely.
The support that you show each other, it's not always going to look the same, especially when you are kind of in the limelight. It might look really weird sometimes, the kind of things that we have to bend to help each other on. But ultimately, it's about the two of you knowing that that's what's going on and knowing what the intention is and getting credit for it and giving credit where credit is due.
Right.
Meaning like giving credit to the partner or like...
Yes, for all of the attempts and all of the work that it goes into feeling connected, even when you're apart, even when you feel like a silent partner at times.
Yeah.
I think you do need to give each other credit for that and acknowledge that that's all part of this joint venture that we call our love lives.
Yeah, we had Joe McHale on last week, and he's 30 years in a marriage, and
Yes,
he gave all the credit to his wife. He just said, you know what? It was beautiful. All right, you guys, let's talk, please. Let's talk about the new Married at First Sight Unmatchables. I can't even say it with a straight face. I'm so excited, you guys. So tell me, now you're changing your mindset in a sense where are we looking for like well-intended people, but they're not making the best decisions? Is that what we're going for here?
Yeah. Can I talk about the name real quick? This is so funny because we laugh to each other. It's Unmatchables because they wanted to be married at first sight and we weren't able to really find a match for them. It's not that they're people who could never
I'm about to do a spit take and spit my God. I love it. I love this show, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to still watch the really Mama Bear show.
And it's super funny. But the name itself, I'm like, I guess because we're part of Married at First Sight, I'm like, well, it makes sense. They weren't matchable. We couldn't find a match for them. But people are thinking it's like really bad.
Oh, my God. Can I tell you? So I've reached out. So I own a network after Buzz TV. You guys have been on it at different times. So one of my hosts just reached out and was like, oh, my God, ask them about their new show, Rejectables.
Oh my God.
It's gonna be a man. I'm like, no, that's not the show. Matchables.
Yeah, they're not rejectable or unwatchable.
Kelsey's
laughing. I'm crying.
But they're very nice people who just need a little
coaching,
and some a lot, some a little tweaks so that they can become more dateable.
Yeah.
Okay, so tease us with some of the unmatchable qualities, so if we're going to say that some of these people have.
Sure. Well, I mean, God, there's so many. We have some who are one gentleman who's a serial ghoster. Oh. He ghosts, leaves them on high and dry. We have a toilet diner.
Oh, what?
She,
I saw that in the
toilet.
She eats on the toilet.
Yeah, she has an appetizer or two or three or meal. And then the never been kissed or the workaholic or the cleanaholic or even the funeral home. Someone who works in a funeral home.
That's tough.
Needless to say,
that's
has
heavy.
Some antisocial behavior.
Yes, no, that's heavy. Going back to the ghoster, the person that's ghosting people, his true intention is to be committed to somebody, even though he's ghosting.
That's what he says.
That's what he says.
I think his intent. You know what? I'll be honest with you, Calvin. I think that a lot of these people, they all wanted to be married, but they didn't realize that that their issues were as big as they are. So it's like we become their mirrors to sort of show them, look, man, you're a great person. You're a great lady. You have so much going on in your life, your career, your heart. You're attractive. But this right here is what's derailing you every time. Yeah. And so we have a week with each of them. We give them 2 major makeovers during the week, which are radical.
Love makeovers.
Oh my God.
So fun.
They're so radical.
Yeah.
And then we send them on a blind date at the end of the week to sort of implement everything we've taught them.
And then, we get to see if how that date goes.
We do too. We get to watch it too. And we get to have our commentary and just figure out, are they doing what we hopefully help them set out to do?
It will be interesting too if they could ever graduate to the big program. To the other, to Married at First Sight. Wouldn't that be something?
We've thought about that. We would love to see that happen in the future.
Yeah,
well, the whole idea is to get them from unmatchable to dateable to hopefully marryable.
Yeah.
I think, Yeah, I mean, listen, someone like me is going to be thoroughly entertained, but I also think that I have to say, I know some people who've been alone for a minute, and they're a little bit unmatchable because they're going to make the mistakes these people make. And I think that this show is going to be wonderful because I think you're going to point out a lot of blind spots.
Yeah, there's a lot of heart.
Yeah.
There's a lot of heart in what we're trying to do, and because they truly want our help.
They do.
And
Yeah.
and again, because it's like breakneck speed, we've got 1 week. We don't expect them to completely change their personalities, nor would we want to. But it's that awareness. We never know what little kick is going to take to get them to a place where they can have an amazing blind date, build confidence, and then who knows what happens in their love lives going forward.
Yeah. Or they can do the homework that you'll assign them for the future, you know what I mean, over time.
Absolutely. That's the hope.
Yeah.
That's the hope.
Because I've seen that too. I'm so excited. When does this drop?
April 21st.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
April 21st, right after Married at First Sight.
Right. Okay.
It's going to be a huge party. Everybody gets to watch.
Yeah, well, what a great way to.
there.
They got to, yeah, because here's the thing with the Married at First Sight, needs to be like 90 Day Fiance. It needs to never stop. It's just got to keep going.
Could you say that louder?
Yes. No. Well, guys, come on. Like, really? Do I have to do their jobs too? Like, come on, Lifetime. Like,
Yeah, I know,
everyone.
right?
You want to
Come
build
on.
this universe and keep everyone there. You know,
Yeah,
but
the Married at First Sight Nation keeps growing and growing.
it's incredible.
I don't know about y'all, but I always feel like it's never enough. I'm like, okay, what day is it? Why, okay, there's nothing with Married at First Sight. Okay, can we do something else?
And there's more. Well, there's more to do because you also have and they know this. Because listen, they know this. I don't know why they're not acting on it, but there's also a body of talent there from the many years of doing it. That there's more to do with.
They do. They have couples camp.
I know they do. I know. I see.
They have
something.
couples camp. They're, with having Unmatchables, though, that's also, we're tapping into all of these people who have applied. And of course, they are coming from the season that we're doing. So these are our Atlanta Unmatchables that were on the heels of our Atlanta season. So I'm really hoping that we continue to have this opportunity. And
You're going to. No,
fun.
guys, this is not going anywhere. And again, it's
awesome.
not. No, honestly, listen, here's the thing. Someone told me in this century, someone actually told me that I trust, it was like 2 years ago. She said to me, one of my therapists, she said, anything built outside of integrity is going to fall. Watch. And all I'm doing the last 2 years is watching one thing, one entity, one brand, one talent just go. But the things that are built out of integrity, which is this show, is it's gonna make it through and continue to go, and it's beautiful.
I appreciate that.
No, I'm so glad to talk to you guys. And before we go, so Kelsey has fan questions. Kels, before you go, I know she does her rapid fire. We did it with Nick Vial from The Bachelor last week. But right now, I know there's something hot going on with your season with one of the couples, and I don't know how much you guys are. Kelsey, you want to
ask and we'll see what we
All right,
can
see what you
I can't
can
imagine
All right,
who
you
you're talking
guys.
about.
Yeah, you right?
Right? So I don't know how much we can talk about here, but Paige and Chris, you guys, what is going on? What is going on with them? I mean, what's your take? But like, what are you guys feeling while everything's going on? I mean, are you feeling for Paige because Chris is now like, I have this baby mama and I don't know what to do. I mean, what's going on? What's going through your guys' heads?
I feel like we feel for everyone that goes through this process, because there is no slam dunk when it comes to arranging marriages blindly on TV. So we definitely feel for everyone. And especially in this season, they're not the only couple that needs our help and needs our support. And we're there for all of them. I think maybe it could be a blessing to some of them that the heat isn't on them with social media, but they're still going through this marriage just as much and just as legitimately as Paige and Chris. So I do feel for both of them, because this is like the hottest limelight I think we've ever experienced before in a couple.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of pressure. It's pressure on us, but I mean, We didn't legally marry
I feel
them.
for both of them, and I feel for him because I know,
Definitely.
is he in his 20s or late 20s? Like he's
Right.
for a male, I just know where my mind was at, my hormones, all of it. I commend most of these guys for being far better than I was at that age. So I really empathize. Pastor Cal, what are your thoughts on what's going on over there?
Well, look, gosh. First of all, there's so much left to be seen. However,
what a
from
tease.
what has been seen, I could say, look, is this something that we were expecting? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Am I disappointed in a lot of the behavior? Man, you have no idea, how disappointed, we are when things don't go well. When they don't go, because we do a lot of vetting, we do a lot of prep. We're expecting, this to be great. And then all of a sudden, the lights come on and, hey, you're not the same person that we vetted for this. And I think that they both are going through tough times. But there's definitely some responsibility that I wish that he would step up on, and there's some things that I want her to do as well. Without saying too much.
Okay.
It's a roller coaster.
It's a roller coaster, and it's just
Okay.
some things are painful to watch.
Yeah.
They are.
That, and because we're uniquely set in a position of being able to see that there are couples who have come back from far worse. Maybe not on Married at First Sight, but we actually counsel people. So we've seen that couples can come back from so much. We've seen that people can correct their ways.
So do you
then
have
in
faith?
addition to that, it's funny because we get DMs, we get oh my God, you have no idea. But the funny thing is that I think there are so many people who look at this and they kind of look at their own lives and they say you should leave or you shouldn't do this because they may be stuck in relationships that suck.
And it's easier to tell somebody else what to do.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
So I get it. I do understand, all the the attention and the ire and the heat that's on them. But I think that some of the, as Viviana was saying, there's some other couples there who are working through much more nicely than they are. So
All right. So
and we really do love them.
Can you ask your 5 questions? Go ahead, Kels. Real quick. Go ahead.
Okay. Here I go. Paria, don't yell at me. We love you so much.
Go ahead. You got to ask these. Come on. I'm a huge
one more
fan.
question, because then we have to go. I'm
Yeah,
so sorry.
go ahead.
One more question.
Go.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to pick at it. So I did here's my rapid fire, but I'm going to ask you one out of the rapid fire. All right.
Thank you.
Ooh, okay. Couple you're most shocked are still together. Out of all the seasons, do you have a couple?
Well, I can say that from my first season, Elizabeth and Jamie have put so much work.
They're incredible.
They went through the ups and downs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
had everyone given up on them, they would not have the relationship that they're working through today, and the strength and the love. So yeah, I think I'm kind of shocked that they were able to move through it, because it is a lot of pressure, but I'm so happy that they've done the work and continue to do the work to stay married.
I'm not shocked at any of them.
None of them.
I'm not shocked that any of them stayed together.
I'm going to let you guys go, and when you go, you guys will give out your Twitter handles and all that stuff. But thank you guys. What an honor. Please let's all stay in touch. And I just adore the show. I'm so excited for April 21st for the new show, and I'm excited to see the rest of this season of Married at First Sight. But bless both you guys, and keep up the great work.
Thank you, Kevin.
To you and Maria. Thank you so much. Bye, Kelsey.
Thank you guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Wow.
Bye.
So good. I was crying laughing at your
Some of the Married at First Sight. Listen, for me, it's 90 Day Fiance, Married at First Sight. I'm also into marrying millions.
Oh, that's a good one. You made me watch that with you.
I'm into that as well.
Big fan.
And Bachelor too, but Bachelor's it's hard for the 3-hour commitment, and I'm at the point now I'm like blah blah blah. Like I know what's.
I watched a Bachelor with Kev once, and I think we actually watched 5 minutes and got the whole gist. He just fast forward through everything.
And I do the subtitling.
Yeah, you do.
I'm like,
you do.
yeah, I love you. No, I love you too. Yeah, I could see us together. Oh yeah, my family would love you. I think my family would love you too. Kids, okay, next.
They had some great tips though.
I thought so. What do you think from your perspective as a single girl?
I actually really liked, right at the beginning when Pastor Cal was talking about if you're going into a relationship or you want a relationship, you have to like be ready to fully compromise. And if you're not ready, then you're not ready for a relationship. And I think, thinking in my terms, I'm not really like seeking a relationship currently because I know I'm not ready to compromise yet. Right?
That awareness.
Like, this is my time to grind and my career and fix myself, work on, so it's like, I know that, but I know for a lot of people out there who maybe think it's like what we talked about on Regular Guy Friday, Kev, what you want versus what you really want. They want a relationship, but no, you really want to keep, you don't want to.
You really want to be uncompromising.
Exactly. So I thought that was a really cool point on his part.
He's a real special guy.
Yeah.
She is too.
They both are.
Yeah. Well, you can see with that show because the way the fact that a lot of those couples do work out because it's genuine.
Right. I'm like, I want to be their friends. They're both so nice.
They are really nice. They're really nice.
Good energies.
Yes, really, really good. And hopefully, like I said, there's a lot of takeaway. And I thought there was good takeaways for when you're in the relationship.
I liked the random acts of kindness.
Yes.
That was cool.
And I like what he said, commit to recommit.
Commit to
every
recommit.
Every day you have to recommit.
Yep. And then also keeping things, I liked what Dr. Viv was saying, not being attached at the hip. So you have something new to bring to the dinner table at night, right?
Yes.
I think that's a cool.
And then facing those insecurities.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big one.
Huge.
Because I see that in a lot of people.
Huge. I think that's the number. And that's what she was saying, especially with women.
Because they don't face them. And so they try to mask them. And they're spending all the time in masking them. And then it's like, hopefully I can mask these long enough to, get my partner. Very interesting.
Very interesting.
Stephen Lemieux just silent. It's okay if you are. He wants to stay silent.
I thought it was great. I thought they had some really, really awesome stuff, especially after spending a week with my brother's family and kind of witnessing his marriage and how they handle things. It's like really interesting to see that a successful marriage applies kind of the tools that they went over on today's show.
Yeah.
Yeah, some things I'm going to put into work.
I was going to say, Kev.
Yeah. Well, I like that every day you have to recommit. I think it's a great one from Maria. I think random acts of kindness. I think Maria, fantastic. And I think appreciating your value. I think Maria will be implementing that as well. That's all I have to say.
Oh my God. Confidence is sexy as heck, to quote Dr. Viviana. It really is, though.
It is. Yeah, I know it all seems cliche, but man, there's real tools to make a marriage work, and I think there's really tools that they gave us that we can work on to get that significant other, if that's what we really want. And I also do want to make it clear, though, that marriage isn't for everybody, and there's nothing wrong with being like what Margaret Cho said. She's like, I love being alone.
Yeah.
And I love the and there's something great about that too. So it really just comes down to that awareness of what you really want.
Yep.
Versus what you think you want. But anyway, you guys, please continue to tell friends about us. Get them to subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, then, have them subscribe there if they're podcast listeners. And please leave us comments. It's the best thing you can do for us right now while we await Maria to come back.
That's
And
right.
But yeah, and anyway, Married at First Sight,
Unmatchables.
yeah. And I love I'm so glad I got to meet these guys.
I know, me too.
I think they were annoyed at the end because we were keeping them too long.
No, I don't think they were annoyed at all. I think they were probably doing a press day.
Oh.
And they were
So I
literally
hogged them
back to back.
Well, I'm sorry, I gave them the best interview.
No, because I feel like they were enjoying it, but they were like, someone at the other end was like pulling them,
we gotta go. And she's the type A, I could tell.
I know, she's like, I'm sorry.
And he's like me, he's the veteran. He's like, nah.
Yeah.
Some will still come up tomorrow if we talk to these two.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I know you can't just do a 1 hour ad for their show. Although I'm huge into the show, but for our show, we all want to get better here.
Well, and here's the thing.
And these guys are great at what they do.
Right. Well, and I think personally, like I'm more apt to watch the show now that I know them and know how incredible they are and all the tips they give.
Okay, no to interviewers. I say this, sometimes I'll say this to you guys, to guests off air. And I'll say, listen, I'm going to work in your whatever it is you want to plug. We're going to get there, but let's get to know you. When people fall in love with you, they're going to go to your podcast, watch your
Google
show,
your
buy
name.
your product.
Yeah. Yep.
But if we come out with like, watch my show, it's a lot harder because everyone today's selling. So it just goes back to give value and you will get. So 100%. It's like, so whatever, and that's what you should get here. Be genuine. Be genuine and then, but give, So a lot of these people come on, they all have a story. They all have great advice. You give that first and let the rest work itself out.
And especially for our audience, which you guys like us love the experts. Like you want the tips and the knowledge, and they're like a freaking wealth of knowledge, right? So like I said, I don't really watch the show. Am I going to watch this one now that I want to see these two? Yeah, I want to see them in action. So I'm going to go watch now. But I thought you did a great job.
Thank you, love. Okay,
so
you guys.
You
guys, Kelsey, what? Until then, what?
Until then, pet your dogs.
Yep.
Make good choices. Be nice people. Be nice people. Make good choices. And be present.
And if you have to groom your dogs during pandemic, it is possible. I've never done a poodle cut. I always did the Bichon cut. And I give my poodles the Bichon cut. But I went for it when little Vincenza got a poodle cut.
She nailed it.
For me, and I think I did nail it.
Kev is going to give a tip on Regular Guy Friday.
I am?
Well, yeah, I have a tip. I have a tip for you. Yeah. We're going to talk about the shears he used on little Vincenza. That I had to convince him because homegirl Olivia at Petco.
20 years of having babies, and I never saw these kind of shears. So,
So that's it. All right, you guys.
Bye.
We love you. Bye.
Vincenza, you nice little baby.